My question is regarding Congress leader Rahul Gandhi's recent visit to USA. He is reportedly visited White House and he has had a meeting also with somebody. In which capacity Rahul Gandhi is met people in White House, and also
no?
and also was MEA aware of his upcoming visit to White House?
Sir.
Sorry, Afghanistan. Look, we have a technical, we pulled back the India-based diplomats and staff after Taliban took control of Kabul. Because at that time we had legitimate security concerns. A lot of other countries also did it. With the passage of time, we have sent back a technical team to the embassy. They have been there for some time. And their job is essentially, in a sense, to monitor the situation and to see how we can support the Afghan people in their hour of need, you can say, in a manner. Because they have, this is a country which had vaccine shortage, it had wheat shortage, it had medicine shortage, it had, there are projects there which will get into difficulty in the passage of time. So, the focus right now in Afghanistan is less, I would say, political. It is more like helping the Afghan people, because the Afghan people are people with whom we have a historical connect. So that is really the current state of the situation. The second question, your question about G20. Look, I remember last year, there were a lot of challenges in getting the final G20 declaration did, and I, in fact, commended even then the Indonesian presidency for making that big effort and getting the Bali declaration. But I would also share with you that even at that time, a lot of us worked alongside with Indonesia. Obviously Indonesia was the chair, but we were part of a troika, and there were some countries who were not even members of troika, but who had an interest in the matter, and all of us put our collective energies together in that regard. If my memory serves me right, last year, in fact, in September, I went to Moscow, and one of the main reasons I went to Moscow at that time was really to discuss this with my Russian counterpart. So this year, we are endeavoring to find a common landing point. There are differences of opinion even about what was agreed to in Bali last year. So how do we handle it? It's very hard for me. Diplomats are still working at it. So I don't want to predict. I don't want to in a way, give too much details. I accept your point that it's a challenge, but diplomacy is a business for optimistic people. So I think it's something that we would look at. And that last question which you asked, I can't believe you are serious, but look, if Rahul Gandhi goes somewhere, that is Rahul Gandhi's call. So, why would I have to get involved in it at all? So I don't even know, frankly, what he did or what he didn't do in respect of what you said.
Please.
Afternoon, sir. Rishabh from Times Now. So enough of Rahul Gandhi US visit. Our Prime Minister is visiting.
Thank you very much.
Prime Minister is visiting US next week, coming weeks. What will be on table, and is Prime Minister also visiting any other country around a US visit?
Swazini.
So Hasini Haider from The Hindu. I wanted to ask External Affairs Minister on the subject of Kulbhushan Jadhav, a former naval commander who is in prison in Pakistan, as well as the 8 former naval officers in prison in Qatar. The question really is, it's been nearly a year since the Qatar incident happened. It's been several years since Kulbhushan Jadhav remains in prison in Pakistan. Has the government given up on diplomatic options in order to have these Indians brought home safely. I refer not just to discussions at high levels, but also to creative options we've seen in the past in the Cold War between the US and Russia, for example, of exchange of prisoners. Thank you.
Yeah, please. Up here. I know there are lots of hands, but I'm sorry, we have limited time.
Hi, sir. I'm Siddhant from CNN News 18. So my question is regarding the recent US Congressional Committee report, which deals with China-related issues. And the report recommends strengthening NATO plus by including India. I want to know your position.
So the first question was Prime Minister's visit. What are your expectations? My sense is that you will get, usually a prime ministerial visit is an occasion really for both countries to focus on, of course, intensifying the relationship or the cooperation. And if there are the tendency is normally to pick a few issues and focus, prioritize on them. Foreign Secretary has just come back yesterday night from US, and he held some discussions there. In the coming days, we are expecting some visitors, incoming visitors from the US as well. So we are working, in that direction. Now, what eventually comes out, and that's really one tough to predict. And even if I could, I'll spoil your fun if I did that. So I think I'll hold it till then. Would he go to another visit? I think usually Prime Minister's visit, we kind of keep working on his schedule, and then Arindam has the pleasure of sharing that at the right time with all of you. Suhasini, your question about Kulbhushan Yadav and the Qatar case. They're very different cases, first of all. I mean, in the case of Kulbhushan Yadav, our view was that he was kidnapped by the Pakistanis, and he's been held in violation of a judgment of the ICJ. So I think the law is very clear, and we have to now see how to take that forward. The Qatar case is different. My understanding is that there have been 3 hearings so far. I think a 4th one is due sometime later this month. Even the full nature of the charges are not entirely clear to us. But what we are doing is we are giving the strongest possible support to the concerned people, including their legal representation, because we believe that their rights should be fully protected. And in a situation like this, I think they are entitled to strongest possible support. Now, your question, will there be any diplomacy around it? Look, I never rule that out. I mean, I even as a general proposition, because as I said, a large part of our outlook today is really, if Indian citizens are in difficulties of any kind, and these are 2 very exceptional situations, the sort of, I would say it is in the DNA of this government that we should do whatever we can, whether they are Indian students, which was your question, or sort of